Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to Bookaccino Live for February. We have a really terrific lineup. I say that every month, but this month I'm super excited about what we're going to share. First, we're going to talk about your top picks from January's presentation. And we always like to see what happens. Those who attend live fill out a form at the end where they can actually win one of three prizes that we've got. And I've got great books on my shelf right now. But we also just like to see what has resonated with you. It helps us build our coverage. It helps us figure out what to do. So definitely answer that questionnaire later on. So here were your top picks. The First Time I Saw Him by Laura Dave. Remember, this is being adapted for an Apple TV series that is starting on February 20th. Skylark by Paula McLean, which takes place in two different time periods in France in the tunnels underneath Paris. Alice Feeney, My Husband's Wife, which is one of the trickiest thrillers that I've read, just going back and forth on the story. Marie Benedict, we've got Daughter of Egypt. Next week, I believe it's on Tuesday at either 1 or 2 o'clock. She's actually going to be doing an Instagram event with Fiona Davis, since they both wrote books about the same topic. Alice Mitaki's It Girl, and the girl looks gorgeous on the cover. Ashley Elston's Anatomy of an Alibi, which is absolutely terrific. Interviewed Ashley. That interview is live. And Strangers by Belle Burden, which was a #1 New York Times bestseller. It's a Bets on selection. Also have an interview with her. And The First Time I Saw Him and Alice Feeney were bets on as well. Okay, so there's where we are so far. And then from the evening event, we did an evening event in January. We did books that are coming out from January through March. Keeper of Lost Children by Sadika Johnson was your top pick. We're going to tell you more about in this presentation, and I am going to see her tonight at an event that she's doing in New Jersey. Skylark, once again, came here. More Than Enough by Anna Quinlan. I'm going to an event that she is doing in South Jersey at Thunder Road Books. The First Time I Saw Him by Laura Dave, My Husband's Wife, Anatomy of an Alibi, and Allison Pataki. So it's nice to see what resonates with both of the groups. So now we're going to go to fiction and what's out right now and what we want to tell you about. First book we've got is Good People by Padmina Samit, and it is on sale now, and it's February Barnes & Noble Book Club pick. The Sharaf family is the picture of success. They're prosperous, rich, and happy. They came to this country as refugees with nothing more than the clothes on their backs. Now, after years of hard work, they live in the most exclusive neighborhood. Their growing family attending the most prestigious schools. Zora, their eldest daughter, is the apple of her father's eye. When an unthinkable tragedy strikes, everyone is left reeling, and the family is thrust into the court of public opinion. I love that line, the court of public opinion. There is talk about that behind closed doors, this rough, happy family household was anything but. Did the family achieve the American dream, or was the image of the model immigrant family just a facade? So there we've got uh, Good People, and Colette Hosseini calls it a spectacular triumph. Next, we've got One and Only. This is February Read with Jenna book club pick, and it's also on sale now. So what we've got is a book by Maureen Gu, and she's also the author of Throwback. Cassia Park believes in soulmates. It's her family's business, after all. For centuries, Park women have peered into the clients' past lives to find their one true love. They're fated. This magical secret is why one and only matchmaking has a 100% guarantee for everyone except Cassia. For 10 years, Cass has been searching for her fated, a man named Daniel Nam, but he's still nowhere to be found. And still on the eve of her 40th birthday, Cass decides to do something for herself. She impulsively has a fling with Ellis. He's 28, and he's not destined to be the love of her life, but she's surprised by their connection, and their fling feels like really good, up to the moment he introduces her to his boss, Daniel Nam. She battles between fate and chance, head and heart. A family secret is revealed that will make her question everything she's ever known. I always love that line. She will question everything she's ever known. Does anybody have that in their lives? I'm not quite sure. Question everything I've ever known. Next, we've got A Better Life by Lionel Shriver. It's on sale this week. Gloria Bonaventura, a divorced mother of three living with her 26-year-old son Nico in a sprawling house in Brooklyn, decides to participate in a new city program that would pay her to take in a migrant as a boarder. Gloria is thrilled when sweet, kind, helpful Martine arrives, but Nico's skeptical. Classic live-at-home Gen Zer with no interest in adulthood, Nico resents any interruption of his hovercraft repose. As the months go on, Martine endears herself both to Nico's sisters while finding her way into Gloria's heart, and even briefly, Nico's. But as Martine's disturbingly dodgy compatriots begin to show up, Nico conceives a dark twin hostile to both his mother's altruism and the migrant crisis in general, and turns out to be anything but a reliable narrator himself. So there we've got A Better Life. Next, we've got This Is Not About Us. It's by Allegra Goodman. It's just out this week. I'm reading it now. May know her as the best-selling author of Isola. So when their beloved sister passes away, Sylvia and Helen Rubinstein are unmoored. A misunderstanding about apple cake turns into a decade of stubborn silence. Busy with their own lives, divorces, dating, career setbacks, college applications, bat mitzvahs, and ballet recitals, their children do not want to get involved. As for their grandchildren, impossible. This Is Not About Us is a story about growing up and growing old, the weight of parental expectations, and the complex connection between sisters. I'm reading this now, and I can't wait to get to the fight about the apple cake. Next, we've got The Astral Library by Kate Quinn, which is on sale on February 17th, which, believe it or not, will be Tuesday next week. Alexandria Alex Watson has learned one lesson from her barren childhood in the foster care system. Unlike people, books will never let you down. Working 3 dead-end jobs to make ends meet and knowing college is a pipe dream, Alex takes nightly refuge in the high-vaulted reading room at the Boston Public Library, escaping into her favorite fantasy novels and dreaming of far-off lands. Until she stumbles through a hidden door and meets the librarian, the ageless, acerbic guardian of a hidden library where the desperate and the lost escape to new lives inside their favorite books. The librarian takes a dazzled Alex under her wing, but before she can escape into the pages of her new life, a shadowy enemy emerges to threaten everyone the Astral Library has ever helped protect. So there you go, the new one by Kate Quinn. Next, we've got Laws of Love and Logic by Deborah Curtis. It was a book group speed dating title. If you see that on the side, back in November, we did an event for the trade that talked about books that publishers thought would be great for book groups. And this was defined as one of them. So if you see that on a slide, that's why that's there. Lily Webb was deeply in love with a charismatic boy, a college-bound quarterback. But their dreams of a life together are cut short when his passionate protectiveness leads to an irrevocable choice. Lily already knows the sting of loss, beginning with the death of her mother, a tragedy that left deep scars on both her and her gifted younger sister, Jane. Jane seeks escape in the abstract world of mathematics and quantum mechanics, where she can keep the demons that fuel her addictions at bay. Now, that's exactly what I would do. I would go into mathematics and quantum mechanics. Just remember that. As the years pass, Lily burns her twin's grief deep in her heart, finding solace in a new beginning with Marshall Middleton, a renowned ornithologist. But when the boy who was once everything to Lily reappears in her life, she struggles with questions around that terrible night in high school. Oh my gosh, thinking back to a terrible night in high school, not good. Okay, we've got So Old, So Young by Grant Ginder. It is coming on February 17th. I am listening to this right now. I'm at the beginning. I'm up where they have new jobs, new cities. For Marco and Mia, Sasha and Theo, Richie and Adam, the one constant in their life after college together would be change. New jobs, new cities, new spouses, new children. And through it all, the one thing that they thought would always stay the same is their friendship. But time has a way of breaking even the strongest bonds and testing what we thought we knew. From the East Village apartment parties and disastrous destination weddings to 40th birthdays and suburban backyard barbecues, So Old, So Young is a story about the growing pains of the millennial generation and a celebration of how love can shift, stumble, and grow into something bigger than we ever could have imagined. And Ellen Hildebrand says, it's a triumph. I will never forget these characters. And he is the author of The People We Hate at the Wedding. So if anybody needs a reference point, that was Grant's last book, or one of his books. Next, we've got Where the Wildflowers Grow by Tara Shelton Harris, coming on February 17th. Lee is the last of the wilds. She's known this because she's watched them all die. Grief never truly fades, and even as a tragedy haunts her, Lee carries on. So when the transport bus taking her to prison careens off the road, killing everyone on board except her, she does what's in her nature. She survives. While searching for a place to hide, Lee stumbles upon an unexpected sanctuary, a flower farm in rural Alabama, tucked away from the world. What Lee doesn't expect is the found family there have built something from the wreckage of their own lives. Slowly, Lee finds peace with the hard pace and soft nature of the farm, taking comfort in the life blooming around her. But the past isn't so easily buried, no matter how far she runs. The truth is who she is, and the ghosts of the wilds follow. I think that's an absolutely stunning cover. Next from Lauren Groff, we've got Brawler Stories. It's coming on February 24th from Riverhead. Ranging from the 1950s to the present day and moving along age, class, and region from New York, no, from New England to Florida to California, these 9 stories reflect and expand upon a shared theme: the ceaseless battle between humans, dark, and light angels. In every human, there's both an animal and a god wrestling unto death, one character tells us. Among those we see caught up in this match are a young woman suddenly responsible for her disabled sibling, a hot-tempered high school swimmer in need of an adult, a mother blinded by the loss of her family, a banking scion endowed with a different kind of inheritance, and motivated by love, impeded by the double edges of other people's good intentions. They try to do the right thing for as long as they can. So that's new from Lauren Groff. Next, we've got More Than Enough from Anna Quinlan. It is coming on February 24th. I'm going to be attending an event that she's doing at Thunder Road. I think I said that earlier. Thunder Road Books down in Spring Lake, New Jersey. You know her as the best-selling author of After Annie, as well as many other books. High school teacher Polly Goodman can talk about everything and anything with the women in her book club, which is why they become her closest friends. And along with her veterinarian husband, the bedrock of her life. Her students, her fraught relationship with her mother, her struggles with IVF. Polly's book club friends have heard about it all. When they give Polly an ancestry test as a joke, the results match her with a stranger. It's clear to Polly that this match is a mistake, but she still cannot help but comb through her family history for answers. And then, when it seems that the book club circle of 4 will become 3, Polly learns how friendships can change your life in the most profound ways. So there you've got More Than Enough. Next, from Susan Mallory, we've got The Bookstore Diaries coming on March 3rd. Jax has a slight issue with control, as in she needs it, always. Too bad she only has power over the Painted Lady bookstore, the Victorian mansion turned bookstore that she inherited. No one else listens to a word she says. Her ex gets engaged for questionable reasons. Her beloved sister Riley wants to move away to find a husband. And the handsome contractor Jax has chosen to convince Riley to stay, is only interested in Jax. Still, she's living the bookworm dream until an unhappy accident erases the names from the bookshop lockboxes where the town keeps their diaries, which means the only way to find a diary's owner is to read it. So spilled secrets and scandals surface. Life at the Painted Lady bookstore gets a lot more colorful and chaotic. So there we've got the latest from Susan Mallory. Next, we've got Lake Effect. Lake Effect, I love that. By Cynthia Apri Sweeney. You know her as the author of The Nest. It's coming on March 3rd. Okay, it's back in 1977, and an air of restlessness has settled on the residents of Cambridge Road in Rochester, New York, a place long fueled by the booming fortunes of Kodak and Xerox, and for some reason, the Moors of Catholic Church. When Nina Larkin is given a copy of The Joy of Sex by her newly divorced friend, she can no longer dismiss the nearly non-existent intimacy of her marriage. Just as her oldest child, Clara, is falling in love for the first time, Nina finds herself longing for the forbidden, a midlife awakening. An intoxicating fling with a prominent neighbor brings Nina a freedom she never thought that she possessed possible, but also risks the reputation of both families, and it unravels her world. Years later, she's now a successful food stylist in New York, her daughter Clara, and she's never been able to move past that scandal. Drawn back home by the pull of a family wedding and wrestling with her own demons, she makes a pivotal decision that turns her life upside down. So it sounds like the lake effect. Like I always say, the lake effect snow. There's going to be a lake effect here. And what's really going to be crazy is both the mother and the daughter are going to be involved. There's my summation. Next, we've got That's What Friends Are For by Wade Rouse. It's on sale on March 3rd. Many of you know Wade also for his books where he writes under a pen name Viola Shipman. So here's what we've got. This is a book he's wanted to write for years. Theodore Copeland has created a fabulous life in the desert oasis of Palm Springs, where he shares a fabulous pink mid-century home with three fabulous friends. Barry, a former actor still clinging to the memory of the dream role that killed his career. Ron, an uprooted Christian with a big heart but no one to give it to. And Sid, who after coming out late in life has never found love. Teddy is the caustic, unspoken leader of the Golden Gaze, the foursome's monthly drag tribute to the Golden Girls. But the harmony of their desert enclave becomes a carousel of emotional baggage when Teddy's estranged sister, Trudy, shows up on their doorstep, her dramatic teenage granddaughter in tow. While Teddy keeps Trudy at arm's length, she manages to wheedle her way into the lives of the Golden Gaze until the real reason for her visit is revealed, and the secrets they've all been keeping from each other unravel faster than a hastily stitched hemline. Jodi Picoult said, by turns, hilarious, because I'm trying to read, it's hilarious, tender, and devastating. Rouse's novel explores what it means to be the sandwich generation of gays today. So there you go. That's what friends are for. Next, we've got some historical fiction. Got Fireflies in Winter by Eleanor Shearer. It's out this week. Let's go to Nova Scotia in 1796. Cora, an orphan newly arrived from Jamaica, has never felt cold like this. In the depths of winter, everyone in her community huddles together in their homes to keep warm. So once she sees a shadow slipping through the trees, Cora thinks her eyes are deceiving her until she creeps out into the moonlight and finds the tracks in the snow. Agnes is in hiding. On the run from her former life, she has learned what it takes to survive alone in the wilderness. But she can afford no mistakes. When she first spies the young woman in the woods, she's afraid. Yet Cora is fearless, and their paths are destined to cross. Deep among the cedars, Cora and Agnes, find a fragile place for safety. But when Agnes's past closes in, they are confronted with the dangerous price of freedom and of love. So there you have Fireflies in Winter. Next, we've got Keeper of Lost Children by Sadika Johnson. It is was one of your favorites in one of the polls that we asked. I think is one we did for the winter reading. You know her as the New York Times bestselling author of House of Eve. I interviewed Sadika. That interview will be up in a couple of weeks. It's a word of mouth selection, which we'll tell you about a little bit later on, and it's one of my bets on selections as well. So here we've got Ethel Gathers, the proud wife of an American officer, is living in occupied Germany in the 1950s. After discovering a local orphanage filled with abandoned mixed-race children of German women and Black GIs, Ethel feels compelled to help find these children homes. Philadelphia-born Ozzie Phillips volunteers for the recently desegregated army in 1948, eager to make his mark in the world. And while serving in Mannheim, Germany, he meets a local woman, Jelka, and the two embark on a relationship that will impact their lives forever. And then we've got 1965 Maryland. Sophia Clark is given opportunity to attend a prestigious all-white boarding school and escape her heartless parents. While at the school, she discovers a secret that upends her world and sends her on a quest to unravel her own identity. Toggling between the lives of these three individuals, Keeper of Lost Children explores how one woman's vision will change the course of countless lives. This story is actually based on a woman named Mabel Grammer, who actually worked on getting children of mixed race into the United States and adopted by families. And I believe it is 500 children that she was able to help. And she herself adopted 12. So it's a very interesting story that Sadika unraveled when she was writing House of Eve. So we wanted to make sure that we bring it to you as something that we see is really special. And I loved interviewing her. Like I said, I will be seeing her tonight. She will be at bookstore in Montclair, and I am looking forward to seeing her. If any of you are going tonight, please say hi. Next, we've got the Book of Forbidden Words by Louise Fain. It is out on February 17th. Let's go to 1552 Paris. The printing press is quickly spreading new ideas across Europe, threatening the power of church and state and unleashing a wave of book burning and heretic hunting. When frightened ex-nun Lisbeth Angers arrives in Charlotte Guyard's famous printing shop with her manuscript, neither woman knows how far the powerful elite will go to prevent the spread of Lisbeth's audacious ideas. Now it's 1952 in New York. Millie Burnett is a lonely housewife struggling to find her way in her new neighborhood amidst the paranoid clamors of McCarthy's America. She finds her life take an unexpected turn when a relic from her past presents her with a 400-year-old manuscript to decipher, pulling her into a vortex of danger that threatens to shatter her world. Millie, Lisbeth, and Charlotte each face a reality where the spread of ideas are feared and every effort is made to suppress them. From Tayari Jones, who we all know as the author of An American Marriage, we've got a new book, Kin. She wrote a multi day piece on Facebook on why it took her so long to get to writing this book. And I'm hoping to interview her. She's got a crazy tour coming up. I'm really hoping to interview her. I enjoyed American Marriage so much, and I want to talk to her so much about this book. It's coming on February 24th. Bernice and Annie, two motherless girls raised in Honeysuckle, Louisiana, have been best friends and neighbors since early childhood, but are fated to live starkly different lives. Raised by a fierce aunt determined to give her a stable home in the wake of her mother's death, Bernice leaves Honeysuckle at 18 for Spelman College, where she joins a sisterhood of powerfully connected Black women and discovers a world of affluence, manners, aspiration, and inequality. Annie, abandoned by her mother as a child and fixated on the idea of finding her and filling the bottomless hole left by her absence, sets off on a journey that will take her into a world of peril and adversity, as well as love and adventure, culminating in a battle for her life. So there you have Kin. I think it's a beautiful cover as well. Next, from M.L. Stedman, I've heard nothing but wonderful things about this book. It's called A Far-Flung Life. You know her as the author of The Light Between Oceans. Okay, we're in remote Western Australia and it's 1958. And here for generations, the McBrides have lived on a vast sheep station, Meredith Downs. It's a million acres, an ocean of arid land. On an ordinary day on a lonely road under an unending blue sky, patriarch Bill McBride swerves to avoid a kangaroo. In seconds, the lives of the entire McBride family are shattered. And then tragedy revisits when a twist of consequences claims the life of one sibling and leads another to give up everything for the sake of an innocent child. Matt, the youngest McBride, is plunged into a moral and emotional journey for which there is no map, no guide. The secrets at the heart of a far-flung life force him to choose between love and duty, sacrifice and happiness. So there you've got A Far-Flung Life. It's really interesting. I heard the editor present this at one of the Simon and Schuster events. ML doesn't believe in doing events, doesn't believe in talking, feels the work should speak for itself. So that's what we have for you on it. And I think that it sounds wonderful, but it's really interesting when you hear an author that these days is saying the work is what is the most important thing. Next, we've got Where the Girls Were by Kate Schatz. It's coming on March 3rd. It's 1968, and the future is bright for 17-year-old Elizabeth Baker Phillips. She's the valedictorian of her high school with a place at Stanford in the fall and big dreams of becoming a journalist. But the seductive, free-spirited San Francisco atmosphere seeps into her carefully planned, straight-laced life in the form of a hippie named Wiley. At first, letting loose and letting herself fall in love for the first time feels incredible, but then everything changes. Pregnancy hits Baker with the force of a whiplash. In the blink of an eye, she goes from a good girl to a fallen woman, her family's shining star to the embarrassing secret. And without any other options, Baker is sent to a home for unwed mothers, and she finds herself trapped in an old Victorian house packed with pregnant girls who share her shame and fear. She grapples with her changing body, lack of choice, and uncertain future. She finds unexpected community empowerment among the girls who went away. So there we've got the girls Where the Girls Were. We've got some thrillers and mysteries. Okay, I'm going to start with In Her Defense is Philippa Malika's book. It is actually on sale now. I believe it came out last week. It's the Reese's Book Club pick for February, and it sounds terrific. So though we usually start with books that came out yesterday, we're sliding this one in as well. The whole country has been riveted by the trial. Beloved television star and national treasure Anna Finbo stands in court, accusing her daughter's therapist, Jean Guest, of brainwashing her daughter Mary for her own financial gain. Jean insists that Mary's traumatic memories arise from her upbringing and her time studying prestigious art school in Rome, wounds only Jean's therapy can heal. But as the trial unfolds, it's Augusta Gus Bird and his former employee, a seemingly insignificant bystander, a nobody, who holds the key to unraveling the tangled webs of lies and deceit. What really happened to Mary in Rome? And if her memories can't be trusted, how will they ever uncover the truth behind her estrangement? So we've got In Her Defense. Next from Greg Hurwitz, we've got Antihero. It's his new Orphan X novel. It's on sale this week. Everyone knows I'm in love with Evan Smoke, and who was once a black ops assassin for the government, and he's now known as Orphan X. He broke out of the program, went underground, and has used his operational rules and skills to help truly desperate people with nowhere to go. When Luke Devine, one of the most powerful men in the world, has a psychological crisis, Evan flies to the East Coast to help him. While there, he learns of a young woman who's kidnapped off the New York City subway, clearly in danger and in need of aid. With no name, few clues, Evan and his team track down the missing woman who was assaulted and abandoned. Evan offers his help and sets out to find the young men responsible. But the young woman insists that Evan abandon his usual methods: no vengeance, and in particular, no killing, which will prove no easy feat given the mounting and coming threats from all sides. Next, from James Lee Burke, we've got A How to Call Boogie. It's a Dave Robichaud novel, and it's out this week. When a cloaked, disfigured man leaves a dead woman in a garbage bag on Dave's property, he knows his world and family are about to change. With Valerie Benoit, a detective new to the Iberia Parish the Iberia Parish's Sheriff's Department, that's a good one, who is grappling with sexist and racist harassment from their colleagues, and the volatile but fiercely loyal Clete Purcell, Dave embarks on an investigation that brings him into the most dangerous moments of his career and threatens the lives of Valerie and his daughter, Alifair. Now, if anybody see there's a little nod. His daughter's Alifair Burke, the writer. Aha, there you go. He encounters a local handyman who leaves cryptic notes and warns of the ghosts who roam the shores of the bayou, and is targeted by a vicious New Orleans button man and gangsters from the north. There you go. Next, we've got The Jills by Karen Parkman. It's a woman in my book group who is dying to read this book. She's a huge Buffalo Bills fan. So here's what the story is. It's out this week. Virginia is a Jill, a cheerleader for the NFL Buffalo Bills, living the life of her dreams. She spends her weekdays practicing, her weekends cheering, and her nights hopping between bars and clubs with her teammates, including the fearless, charismatic Janine, whose friendship has given Virginia confidence in spades and helped her forget her troubled past with her estranged sister Laura. One Sunday, Janine fails to show up for a game, and calls and texts go to her unanswered. Virginia Park embarks on an investigation into Janine's disappearance, aided by the network of Jill's ex-boyfriends, seedy fixtures of Buffalo's criminal underground, and unexpected figures from her past. But as the search grows increasingly dangerous and spirals into obsession, disturbing questions about who Janine really was begins to emerge. And as I was reading about this book, I was thinking about that series that's on Netflix. I think it's on season 2, about the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders and what it's like to be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. It's like eminently fun. It's the kind of thing I put on the background when I'm still doing email, but really crazy what everybody goes through, and they do not make a lot of money. But here we got the Jills. Maybe they make more. Next, we've got The Devil's Bible by Steve Berry. It's on sale on February 17th. Former Justice Department operative Cotton Malone is called to Sweden when the younger sister of King Wilhelm I is kidnapped. The ransom demand: hand over an 800-year-old book, the Codex Gigas, the largest illuminated medieval manuscript in the world. Claimed as war loot from Bohemia in 1648, it's been kept in Stockholm for nearly 400 years. Along the way, it was also acquired by another, more mysterious moniker, the Devil's Bible. Now the Czech Republic wants the codex back, and Sweden has agreed to return it, but forces are at work to stop that from happening. The likely instigator, Russia, which is also at the top of the list of possible kidnappers. It's up to Cotton and Cassiopeia Witt to locate the king's sister, secure the codex, and thwart the Russians. Yet, here's the line that we always hear, guys, in thrillers: nothing is as it seems. So there you go, the latest Cotton Malone novel. Okay, this is now we've got When I Kill You by B.A. Paris, which is coming on February 17th. Probably remember her as the author of Behind Closed Doors. Nell Masters is certain that someone's following her. The hairs on the back of her neck rise when she travels to and from work. Their silent calls to her office, and a huge bouquet of flowers arrives without a card. Nell has a secret she's hiding from everyone in her life, including her new partner, Alex. But Alex has secrets of his own. 14 years earlier, when Nell went by the name of L. Nugent, she witnessed a student, Bryony Sanders, getting into a stranger's car. When Bryony was found murdered, Elle became obsessed with finding the man responsible, or I'm sorry, the person responsible. I was just putting that it was a man. I am sorry. Sexist of me. She was convinced that she knew who it was, and her fixation with Brett Parker, the man she accused, led her down a dangerous path. Someone from Nell's past discovered her new identity. Has the stalker become the stalked? Is there something even more deadly at play? So then it's When I Kill You. Next, from Deborah Goodrich Royce, we've got a book called Best Boy, a novel. This is going to be our last bets on, I'm sorry, the last book reporter winter reading selection. There'll be a contest going up for this next Tuesday. The book is not coming out till the 24th, but we're going to do the contest a week early. Viveka Stevenson has it all: a handsome and successful husband, an adorable 10-year-old son, and a coastal dream house in Greenwich, Connecticut. She's got a solid group of girlfriends and content with the afterglow of a film career she left behind. But when a threatening letter arrives from a man she does not remember, it cracks open a part of her past she thought she'd buried for good. Terrifying chain of events is set in motion, forcing her to confront what happened on a shattering Halloween night in high school when she had a different name, a different face, and a different voice. Who is the man contacting her now, and was he really the best boy on her most famous film, Misty? Why can't she remember him or that night? So best boy is a term that they use for somebody on a film set. So let's see where it ends up in this novel. And Lisa Unger has said, a breathless and engrossing must read about the lies we tell each other and ourselves. Don't miss it. Next, we've got Crown City coming from Naomi Hirahara. It's coming on February 24th. We're in Pasadena in 1903. 18-year-old, I'm going to just call this Rui Wada, staggers off the boat from Yokohama, Japan, ready to reinvent himself after the untimely death of his parents. He does his best to settle into the world as an art dealer's apprentice while adjusting to his new home. Pragmatic photographer roommate Jack to the beautiful seamstress living downstairs. He finds himself surrounded by colorful characters and unbelievable opportunities, and as soon as swept up in all that Crown City has to offer. But tensions are seething under Pasadena's bustling prosperity. Rui is the victim of an anti-Japanese attack, and a painting is stolen from the studio of Toshio Okai, Pasadena's most successful Japanese artist, who then hires Rui and Jack to investigate. It's not long before their sleuthing leaves them into real danger. This is a Japantown mystery. Naomi has done a great job of taking what the Japanese experience was during the times where people came to the States and at other times in history, and really given it a breath of life. She's also the Edgar Award-winning author of Clark and Division, which is one of my bets on selections, and I'm looking forward to this one. Michael Connolly says, Naomi uses the past to inspire us to be relentless in doing the right thing right now. Next, we've got The Girls Before by Kate Alice Marshall coming on February 24th. Stranger is trapped in the dark with only her imagination and the scribbles on the wall left by long dead girls to keep her company. Nearly out of food and water, she makes one last attempt to escape. Audrey is a search and rescue expert who's never stopped looking for her ex-best friend Janie, who disappeared when they were teenagers. Janie used to love the local legend of a forest witch who saves girls from bad men. But Audrey knows for everyone saved, there's always another one lost. When she stumbles upon evidence in the forest that a teen runaway might actually have been kidnapped from land belonging to the town's most prosperous, prominent family, she will have to dig through decades of secrets to reveal the biggest one of all: what happened to the girls before. So there's your next thriller. Next, we've got I Came Back for You by Kate White, which is coming out on March 1st. 10 years after her daughter Melanie was murdered, Bree Winter is finally moving out on with a new love, a new home, and a new beginning. Then a deathbed confession from the convicted thriller throws Bree's life into a tailspin all over again. He readily confesses to murdering four girls, but not Melanie. First, Bree and her ex-husband don't buy a word of it, till inconsistencies about the crime emerge. So does the dreadful feeling that the monster who shattered Bree's family isn't lying. The only way she can get to the truth is to power through the trauma and return to the town in upstate New York where Melanie's life came to a brutal end. Not only could the real killer still be in their midst, but as Bree begins to dig through Melanie's past, what she discovers calls into question everything she's believed about the crime and about Melanie herself. So you've seen that this is like a topic right now of the girl and the killer and what came to find them. We've got a theme running through here. Ah, and here we go. The Missing Sister by Jocelyn Jackson. Revenge, it's all relative. Born 3 minutes apart, Penny and Nix Albright grew up doing everything together. But when Nix dies in a tragic accident soon after college, she leaves behind a cryptic voicemail that has Penny guilt-ridden. 5 years later, Penny has found new purpose as a rookie cop. She's working to fulfill Nick's dream of making the world a safer place. But following that dream becomes a nightmare when she's called to the first murder scene. When she sees the victim, she knows him instantly. Danny Bowery, one of the three men she's long blamed for Nix's death. Stunned Penny discovers a blonde in blood-drenched clothes gripping a box cutter. Before Penny can arrest her, the woman reveals that Bowery's murder is part of a larger story that is far from over, a story about sisters. And with that, the killer disappears. And now Penny will stop at nothing to pursue this dangerous woman and learn why she's avenging Nix's death. Like I say, we've got a theme going. Okay, let's go to some biographies, memoirs, other nonfiction. Okay, we're going to start with American Struggle by John Meacham. It's coming out February 17th. American Struggle, John Meacham illuminates the nation's complicated past. This rich and diverse collection covers a wide spectrum of history from 1619 to the 21st century, with primary source documents that take us back to critical moments in which Americans fought over the meaning and direction of the national experiment. From founders to Lincoln to Obama, from Andrew Jackson to Theodore Roosevelt to Ronald Reagan, from Seneca Falls to the March on Washington, this chorus tells us the story of the country and of its people. And as clashes over liberty and slavery, inclusion and exclusion play out, these voices remind us that the contentious citizenship and fair-minded observations are essential to bringing about the more perfect union envisioned in the preamble to the Constitution. So there you go, coming into our 250th anniversary. It's really funny. My husband reads a lot of history, and the other night he was reading something, and he said, "Wait, I'll just be there in a minute." And I saw he was reading the second and the third book of three books about the Revolution, and I said, "We won. So now can we have dinner?" So it was really funny because I said, "You're reading about history all the time, but you ask him about anything to do with Lincoln or the early days of the United States, he's there. I am not." So next we've got Leaving Home by Mark Haddon. It's coming on February 17th. Leaving Home is a portrait of the artist, both as a child and as an adult. His parents were really not cut out for the job of having children. They were cut out, respectively, for the jobs of designing abattoirs. And I actually looked up what this is. It's a place where animals are slaughtered. So they design places where animals are slaughtered and keeping a pathologically clean and tidy house. At least he had the consolations of the Weetabix solar system wall chart, walnut whips, and the occasional baby cham. A strangely honest and scalpel sharp. This book is about being different and seeing the world differently. It's about being a cartoonist and a care assistant. It's about family. It's about knickerbocker glories and heart surgery. About paper mache and mental breakdown and great white sharks. It's about how art, in its all varied forms, provides a way of understanding and coming to terms with the mess of human life. So there we've got a memoir in full color. Next, we've got M. Morrison by Namwali Serpil. And it's really interesting for a book that's coming on February 17th. It's Black History Month. It's Toni Morrison. And we're going to talk about Toni Morrison, the Nobel laureate, one of the most beloved writers, has inspired generations of readers. But artistic genius is often overshadowed by her monumental public persona. Perhaps because, as the author puts it, she's our truly canonical Black female writer, and her work is highly complex. Anne Morrison brings her unique experience as both an award-winning writer and a professor who teaches a course on Morrison to illuminate her masterful experiments with literary form. This is Morrison, who've never encountered her before, journey through her ode, her fiction or criticism, as well as her lesser-known dramatic works and poetry, with contextual guidance and original close readings. It's interesting when I think about being back in college, when I think about being back in school, besides reading her work, what would it have been like to read a book like this surrounding it that talks about the person, and we talk about it with contextual guidance and original close readings of what was going on? I think it'd be a really interesting course that I would even be interested in attending now. And I think of that often when I look at some of these books. I'm thinking, well, that would make a really interesting conversation for a lot longer period, and putting together a whole section just talking about this one author and their works. Next, we've got Playmakers by Michael Kimmel, and I read about this book earlier this week. The Jewish entrepreneurs who created the toy industry in America, and it's coming on February 17th. And it's absolutely fascinating to me because I did not know all this. In 1902, Morris and Rose Mitchum invented the teddy bear, bound by clothing scraps, stuffed with sawdust, and given button eyes with a sad, longing expression in the back room of their Brooklyn candy store. Together, they launched the Ideal Toy Corporation, joining a set of other poor first-generation Jewish toy makers, the Hasenfield brothers of Hasbro, Ruth Moskowitz and Elliot Handler of Mattel, and Joshua Lionel Cohen of Lionel Trains. From Barbie and G.I. Joe to Popeye, Superman, and Mr. Potato Head, Playmakers reveals how the toy industry created the idolized American childhood, an enchanted world full of wild creatures and eternal struggles between good and evil, with the endless realms of fantasy and beauty. I think it's a really interesting topic because I never thought about all the people who created all the toys I was playing with when I was little. Next, we've got It's Never Too Late by Marla Gibbs, written with Malika Adaro. It's coming on February 24th. Marla Gibbs, the star of the classic television series, including The Jeffersons and 227, has been a Hollywood icon for generations of fans. And now at 93, she chronicles her crime from a difficult youth in which she yearned for safety and love, the high-stakes world of Hollywood, before where she became a confident power broker, learning to work behind the scenes for fair pay, access, and more creative control for herself and her colleagues. Told in her forthright voice, It's Never Too Late illuminates Gibbs' daring move to LA to rebuild her life after an abusive marriage, how she became an actor, and how she eventually learned to balance acting with show running. Sounds like a fascinating memoir. We've got We the Women, The Hidden Heroes Who Shaped America by Nora O'Donnell with Kate Anderson Brower, coming on February 24th. Over a decades-long distinguished career, award-winning journalist Nora O'Donnell has made it her mission to shed light on untold women's stories. And now, in honor of America's 250th birthday, O'Donnell focuses that passion on the American heroines who helped change the course of history. We the Women presents a fresh look at American history through the eyes of women, introducing us to inspiring patriots who demanded that the country live up to the promises made 250 years ago in the Declaration of Independence, that all men are created equal, that they all are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And since the signing of that document, the most pressing question for women has been, why don't those unalienable rights apply to us? So through research and interviews, historical documents, and old photos, she curates a compelling portrait of these fierce fighters for freedom. Next, you've got You Can't Catch Us by Shannon McKenna Schmidt. Years ago, Shannon worked with us at Bookreporter, and it's really fun to see a new book coming from her. I believe this is her third or her fourth. It's on sale on March 3rd. Time when political candidates' wives were expected to be seen, not heard, Lady Bird Johnson made history as the first presidential spouse to take a leading role on the campaign trail. Her mission to aid her husband, Lyndon B. Johnson, in his re-election bid. Proud of her Southern heritage and what her husband had done for civil rights, Lady Bird undertook an 8-state whistle-stop tour in October 1964 to garner votes for Lyndon and help ease the animosity that arose with the signing of the Civil Rights Act 3 months earlier. The Lady Bird Special, a custom 19 car train forged headlong into the powder keg of Southern politics, traveling from Washington, D.C. to New Orleans and making 47 stops in only 4 days. Despite the potential dangers, the First Lady, aided by a team of pioneering women, pressed forward, making speeches, shaking hands, and breaking ground. I love when a book comes along, like the book before, whatever, about something that I did not know anything about and could lead me in a new direction of learning something about history. Okay, we've got some April titles to look forward to. We're going to the first half of the month, and there's a reason for that, the way February and March break. Tom can give you the whole breakdown on that. I just believe Tom. Okay, here we go. First, we've got American Fantasy by Emma Straub. Oh, it's coming on April 7th. When the American Fantasy cruise ship sets sail for a 4-day themed voyage, aboard are 5 members of a famous 90s era boy band and 3,000 screaming women who have worshipped them since childhood. Feeling slightly out of place amid this crowd is Amy. She's newly divorced. She's turning 50 with an empty nest, and she's here on a lark to appease her sister. Yet when the lights come up and the idols of her youth begin to sing, something is unlocked. Between the slushy alcoholic drinks, the familiar music, and the throngs of middle-aged women acting like lovesick teenagers, Annie finally reconnects to a long submerged part of herself. By the time she meets one of the band members, not just a celebrity, but somebody in need of a friend, she has accessed a new sense of possibility. Emma loves the boy bands, and she really wanted to do this book based on that. It should be rocking fun as a result. Next, we've got London Falling by Patrick Radden Keefe coming on April 7th. The early morning of November 29th, 2019, surveillance cameras at the headquarters of MI6, Britain's spy agency, captured the video of a young man pacing back and forth on the high balcony of Riverwalk, a luxury tower on the bank of the River Thames. At 2:44, he jumped into the water. In a quiet London neighborhood several miles away, Rachel Bletter was worried about her son. Zach had told her that he'd gone to stay with a friend, but when he didn't come home, well, he didn't come home and she was worried. Days later, a police car pulls up. 2 officers relayed the dreadful news her son was dead. In their unbelievable grief, Rachel and her husband Matthew struggled to understand what had happened to Zach. He had his troubles, but in no way seemed suicidal. And as they would soon discover, however, there was a lot they did not know about their son. This is a mysterious death in a gilded city and a family's search for the truth, and it's by the author of Say Nothing. Next, we've got Cherry Baby from Rainbow Rowell coming out on April 14th. Everybody knows that Cherry's husband Tom is in Hollywood making a movie. Almost nobody knows that he isn't coming home. Tom is the creator of Thursday, a semi-autobiographical, let's do this again. Semi-autobiographical, semi-autobiographical, let's do it one more time. Gosh, I really need to cut this part. Semi-autobiographical, there we go, webcomic that's become an international phenomenon. The character's movie based on Cherry Baby, wide-hipped, heavy-chested, double-chinned baby. Sherry never wanted this. No fat girl wants to see herself caricatured on the page, let alone on the big screen. But there's no getting away from it. While her soon-to-be ex-husband is in Los Angeles, she's stuck in Omaha, wondering who she's supposed to be without him. And one night, she decides to leave all her problems at home. She ventures out to see her favorite band, play her favorite album, and someone recognizes her from across the room. So there we've got Cherry Baby. Unbeknownst to many of you, my uncle was one of the original Four Seasons, and every time I read this, I think Cherry Baby. Okay, just going there. This one moment. Next, from Lena Dunham, we've got Fame Sick, a memoir. How could she ever be fame sick? She would look for it all the time. For the last decade, she spent countless hours in doctors' waiting rooms searching for diagnoses, treatment, and relief. Being the owner and operator of Lena Dunham's body has felt like towing a wrecked car across town at midnight. It's not easy dragging a wrecked car anywhere, much less to the set of the hit show that you, as a 25-year-old, are writing, directing, producing, and starring in, or the White House, the Golden Globes, or your publicist's office to discuss the latest internet disaster. But Dunham does it, even if it means interminable hospital stays, vomiting in the bathroom when she's meant to be meeting Oprah, or terrifying those closest to her because she can no longer tell the difference between fighting to do what she loves and being a servant to her own ambition. All the while, she's holding out for a love that can withstand her personal and public challenges. And more than anything, she's yearning to feel like herself again. If only she could remember who that self was. Lena Dunham. She created herself and now she's famesick. Go Gentle by Mary Semple is coming on April 14th. Adora Hazard has it all figured out. Stoic philosopher and divorcee. She lives a contented life on New York City's Upper West Side. Having discovered the secret to happiness is desire only what you have. That's a good one. She's applied this insight to blissful effect, relishing her teenage daughter, the freedom of being solo, and her job as a moral tutor for the twin boys of an old money family. She's even assembled a coven, like-minded women who live on the same floor in the legendary Ansonia, as making active efforts to grow its membership. Dora's carefully creative life is humming along beautifully until we got it, folks, it's coming, a chance meeting with a handsome stranger. Soon her ordered world is upended by black market art deals, secret rendezvous, and international intrigue, and her past lands her like a bomb in her present, inflamed by unquenchable desire. Adora finds herself a woman wanting more, and she'll risk everything to get it. And you know Marie Semple as the author of Where'd You Go, Bernadette? So you know this one's going to be quite wild when you hear Go Gentle. David Baldacci's got Hope Rises coming in April 14th. Walter Nash is on the road to revenge after becoming an informant for the FBI against a global criminal operation headed up by Victoria Steers. Steers has ripped everything Nash held dearly from him, and with long, rigorous training under his belt, the gentle and sensitive Nash has transformed into a physically imposing man with lethal skills. And now he has only one goal left, taking down Victoria Steers. In order to succeed, he's going to have to cross enemy lines and work the job from the inside. But he must rely on every ounce of his hard-earned skills to prove himself an ally to Steers if he's ever going to get close enough to decimate her criminal empire. Yet, despite hating the woman for destroying his life, he finds himself oddly drawn to her in ways that he never could have imagined, and what he ultimately discovers will turn all he believed upside down, forcing him to do something truly unfathomable. So there you've got Hope Rises. From Jane Harper, love her work. We've got a book coming on April 14th. I've got this on my shelf. I'm dying to get to it. Here's a quote from David Baldacci. Harper is peerless in creating an avalanche of suspense. Caroline Ridge, a once vibrant village in rural New South Wales, has become a shell of itself. Its houses and buildings bought up and left to rot by the mining company operating at its borders. A decade into its slow death, the skeletal town is all but abandoned. After years of scorning those who left the ridge behind as it almost fell into ruin, Roe never imagined she'd become one of them. But everything changed when she lost her son. 5 years ago, Sam vanished while visiting during a break from college. He loved the Caroline Ridge and had been working on an oral history of the town to preserve its legacy before it vanished altogether. But when Roe returns there to be with her husband and her daughter on the anniversary of Sam's disappearance, she begins to suspect that something important was overlooked in his case. So there you've got she wrote Dry and Exile. So those are two past books of hers that I loved. Dry was the one that was made into a really good film. Next, we've got The Lost Summer by Wendy Corsi Staub, coming on April 14th. Detective Sergeant Midge Kennedy and her lifelong pals Talia and Kelly have reunited on the 25th anniversary of the disappearance of their friend Caroline, hoping to bring that summer of loss behind them. Please put it behind them. But as the season draws to a close in Mulberry May, Midge is plunged into a missing person case with unsettling ties to the past. Ordinarily, she wouldn't suspect foul play when a 16-year-old girl is gone just a few hours late getting home on a beautiful summer afternoon. But her investigation yields a shocking glimpse of a familiar face, and mounting concerns link Sarah Green's vanishing to Caroline's. The clues lead to Haven Cliff, an abandoned Gilded Age estate that's been the stuff of cursed legends for generations. It's also Kelly's new home. And Midge suspects that the wooden grounds hold the keys to Sarah's fate and Caroline's, but will Haven Cliff and Midge herself give up long-buried secrets? So here you've got The Lost Summer. Next, we've got Debbie Laskar. I'm reading this now. It's so interesting. It's called Midnight at the War. It's a novel. It's coming on April 14th. Foreign correspondent Rita Das has left New York for the war-torn Middle East, a reassignment she asked for after learning she is pregnant, but uncertain whether the father is her husband or her lover. She strives to shed light on the fallouts of the war. She finds herself embroiled in her own conflicts with her interpreter and her news editor, her sources and her colleagues, and she's unable to accept the loss of her mother and deal with her guilt for not being at her side when she died. Her mother died on 9/11 or the day after, and she was on a flight to get home but couldn't fly because of what was going on here. And she was trying to get back to America. It was really interesting to sit and think about what was happening to people on the other side of the world on that day. Reed is also in denial about her need for intimate human relationships. As she goes to the field to report on the war, she grapples with the physical and emotional tolls of her pregnant body and a turbulent region where the numbing repetition of war slides suddenly into horror. When a news editor delivers urgent orders for her to return to New York, she's faced with the choice of how she wants to live her life as a journalist and a soon to be mother. So there we've got Midnight of the War. From Jennifer Chiavarini, we've got The Patchwork Players, which is coming on April 14th. Acclaimed TV actress Julia Merscheid's beloved historical drama, A Patchwork Life, revived her career and made stars of several younger actors. But Julia's happiness turned to dismay when she learns the hit show will only have one more season. Can she convince everybody to stay just a little bit longer? Inspiration comes after a conversation with Summer Sullivan, one of the expert quilters who helped Julia prepare for her role. When Summer confides that the Elm Creek Quilt Club is in financial trouble, Julia concocts a brilliant plan that will help the Elm Creek quilters and herself. She sets about persuading the cast and crew to join her for what she promises will be a marvelous week at a luxurious 19th century mansion. And secretly, she hopes that bonding experience will convince them to abandon their other plans and sign up for another few seasons. But after several joyful days of quilting and camaraderie, her scheme takes a really unexpected turn. So there we've got an Elm Creek quilt novel. Okay, here are the favorite paperbacks that are now available. We've got Cleavage, got Finley Donovan Digs Her Own Grave, Harlem Rhapsody, which was one of my bet sons, Seeking Shelter, which was one of my bet sons, Amanda Peters, Working for the Night Moon, Jojo Moyes, We All Live Here, Lisa Unger, Close Your Eyes and Count to 10, Daniel Silva, An Inside Job, Lorne, The Man Who Invented Saturday Night Live, Show Don't Tell, by Kurt Sittenfeld, Lisa Scott Alini's The Unraveling of Julia, and What Happened to the McCraes. So there you've got paperback releases, and some of those are now available and some are coming later on. And Lisa was one of my bets on as well. So there you go. Next, here are my early bets on selections. You may recognize some of them from earlier in the presentation. First time I saw them, Anatomy of an Alibi, Strangers. And for this week, I should write about Strangers. Wendy Walker has done a fabulous job of writing a thriller set in the world of ice skating. If anybody's watching ice skating these days, Wendy is also on Instagram and Facebook talking about skating and talking about her early days when she was training to be a skater between the ages of 13 and 16, which is what inspired this book. Keeper of Lost Children, which I've told you about, and Alice Feeney's My Husband's Wife, which I have to figure out how to tell you about because the story is so complicated. I may need to reread the book to write the bets on. Okay, these are the people I've interviewed so far this year. It's been great. Ashley about Anatomy of an Alibi, how she wrote the book. Really, the first chapter stayed the same, and from there, where she put everything up in the air. Skylark, why Paula McLean wanted to write this and her research on it. Underneath Paris. Paris Wife had us up here in Paris. Now she's got us under the ground. Belle Burden, fabulous, fabulous. Number one instant New York Times bestseller, talking about her marriage and what happened after her marriage. And The Heir Apparent by Rebecca Armitage. The Heir Apparent is just fun. If you're just looking for a great book that's smartly written, but just a real like rock of a read, highly recommended. So there's my bets on so far. Okay, we've got our winter reading contest right now is up. And yesterday's title, we're holding over and making it a 48-hour contest, not just a 24-hour contest. Our winter reading contest is up until tomorrow, Thursday, February 12th, and the prize book is Theo of Golden by Alan Levi. Just so you know, we did a fabulous event with Alan a couple of weeks ago, and it actually was like about 2 weeks ago. Has been viewed more than 18,000 times, listened to on the podcast. It's a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous episode that we did with him as a Bookaccino live book group. If you listen to that, remember it does have spoilers in it, so you may want to wait till you read the book, but definitely go out and enter the contest. The contest is up until tomorrow, and it's on the front page of the site. And the next contest is going to be Best Boy, and that is next Tuesday. Okay, we've also got a word of mouth contest where you could win Keeper of Lost Children, and this is not about us. What you do is you go to Book Reporter by Friday, February 20th, and tell us what you're reading and rate it. Tell us what you're reading and what you're interested in. We like to see what you're interested in, and then from there we give away 3 people win these books as prizes. So go out there. We are constantly reading that to see what you're interested in and what you're reading as we put together our editorial. Okay, we've got a couple of really fun events coming up. In Valentine's Day theme, we have Lily King coming to discuss Heart the Lover, an instant New York Times bestseller and one of my book reporter bets on selections. I interviewed Lily last year, love this book, read it with my book club, who had so many thoughts about it that I'm hoping they join us to talk to Lily because we have lots of feedback about this book. She's joining us on Thursday, February 26th, not our usual Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, and sign up is available on Book Reporter and Reading Group Guides right now. And our next book group event, we're trying to get you a little bit ahead so you have some time to do some reading. It's going to be Patrick Ryan, and he's going to discuss Buckeye, which is a New York Times bestseller and a Book Reporter bets on pick from last year. It's on Wednesday, March 25th at 8 o'clock, and sign up is available on tbrnetwork.com/events. And keep in mind that if you can't find our events anyplace else, we have Francesca on our team does an amazing job of making sure that keeps updated with ways for you to sign up to attend events, etc. And now we will have another event that's coming on the an evening event. We're going to preview books coming out this spring that we think you will enjoy reading. And this is one for you to pass along for your friends who work during the day and perhaps can't get out to see, they can't sneak away for an hour on a Wednesday afternoon. We're doing this Wednesday, March 18th at 8 o'clock. Sign-ups available on Book Reporter and Reading Group Guides right now. And our next Bookaccino live book presentation afternoon. See, we really, really like February and March because they have 28 days and it's so easy to do this. It's going to be on Wednesday, March 11th at 2 o'clock. Get it? 4 weeks from now. A preview of books releasing from March 10th through March 31st, and a peek ahead at the second half of April plus May. And that is all Tom Donadio, our editorial director, figuring out exactly how we should do things. Many thanks to our intern, Isha, for her help building this presentation. As always, she did a terrific job. And we hope to see you all next time for Bookaccino Live.